What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and it can be tough to decide when is the right time to pick up a book that's been really hot, but I've got an unboxing for one that I finally decided the time was right. Stay tuned to see what I got. Alright, so before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. So it's always a challenge. I think it's something that goes through all of our minds when we have books that we want to pick up, either to add to the collection or just to have it in hand. So for this one, I'm not sure if I'll end up keeping this one in my collection of books or not, but never owned a copy before. I've wanted to own a copy. I like having these different books, at least in my own possession at some point, see them in person, and actually have them as part of my collection, at least for a short period of time. And so this was one that I've wanted to buy for a while, but I have been very hesitant to pick it up because the prices had gone up a lot, and I was very concerned that the prices would start dropping. And so I didn't want to, pick that book up when it was at its peak and then, kind of be stuck with it or have a hard time selling it. And so I finally decided that this was a good time to pick up this book, and so we will see which one this is. The packaging seems great. I picked this one up from Instagram, and actually based on the name of the person that I sent payment to, they may be subscribed to the channel, so if you're watching this video, thank you for selling me this book. But it's double boxed, so plenty safe. And then it's got lots of bubble wrap and then styrofoam inside, so definitely not concerned about any damage to this book. And I always like getting lots of packing material because I generally reuse most of it. Try not to throw stuff out if I can help it. All right, and then we've got it in some plastic here as well, with cardboard around it. And so this is a book that it has gotten, it was always a key and was relatively expensive, but it has definitely gotten a lot more expensive over the last couple years. And just any chance I've had to get it, I've passed on it because I was just always worried that prices were going to drop. And they did, and so I'm glad I made that decision. But I finally decided that now was the right time for me to pick up this book. All right, so got all the packing material out, and yeah, it looks great. I really like this. I like the colors on this book, everything. And so what this is Tales of Suspense number 52. And this is the first appearance of Black Widow. This is what she looks like, at least back in her first appearance days. That's her on the cover. And obviously also a very pretty early appearance of Iron Man, 1964. And just a book that I think the colors always look really great on this one, with that kind of like purplish deep blue in the background with the yellow. I always think this book looks really, really sharp. And obviously the reason that I was concerned about picking up a copy of this book was because we knew that Black Widow was dying. We knew that she died in Avengers Endgame, and she had her final movie that came out on July 9th. And so we don't really expect that we would see her again, especially with how things didn't really end all super well with her relationship with Disney. Apparently the lawsuit and everything was settled outside of court and all that, but still not necessarily the best way for that relationship to end, unfortunately, because they worked together for so long. But I'd wanted a copy of this book, never had one. I've had, a lot of the other ones, like first appearance of Hawkeye, and I've had second appearance of Iron Man. I've never had his first appearance. I've had his first, Red Armor, that kind of thing, but never had this book. And so I'd always wanted to have a copy. It doesn't look like it's been pressed, and so I'll see if I can point that out. So you can see like those indentations like that. Could it get above a 4? That's something I'll definitely look at. But it's got some flaws down in the corner, like the chips and that kind of thing there. But you can tell it doesn't have that feeling like it's been pressed. Kind of the dimpling on the cover, this denting. Let's see here on the back there. Now there is tanning around the edges, so there are things that are limiters on the book, but I thought when I saw it that it looked like a really nice copy. Now this looks like grease pencil. If you're not familiar with grease pencil, it's just something that was sometimes used to mark books, and that can come off. You can get it off with the right person doing the cleaning. I've seen ETA Nick do it on some books, and he's been able to get off grease pencil pretty well. And so that is something that could potentially be removed, potentially help the appearance of the book. And the other thing, and I've noticed this with books that I think don't look pressed, there's just something about the way the spine looks. So it's just something that I've learned to look for when, let's see if you can kind of see it on here. But there's like a certain roll to the spine where a lot of times when books get pressed, they lose that. They lose that smooth transition around the spine, and it gets this kind of like smushed or flat look. And so I think this one doesn't really have that look to it. So either it hasn't been pressed or it's only lightly been pressed. And so I think there are things that could be improved on here. So it might be worthwhile to send it in and see what it could get. Like I said, there are various flaws and things on here, but I think it presents really, really well for a 4, and so that's why I thought maybe it would have a chance at getting a little bit better. But just a cool book, and one that I'm excited to pick up. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit, just on why I decided to pick this book up now. And so for me, it was because the movie had come out a little over 3 months ago now, and the prices on this book actually peaked right around the time of the movie. I think the high sale was like July 12th, which is a few days after the movie, for about $1,200 for this grade. And that's a little strange for a book, for a peak price. Usually they peak when you've got that first trailer, but because Black Widow was so weird with all the delays and everything with that movie, that it really messed with the normal pricing for this book. But now that that movie has come out, the reception was mediocre on it, and so I think that probably could hurt the prices on the book a little bit, but also just the fact that the character's not coming back. I wanted to give some time for the prices to retreat before I could pick this book up, because she's still a major character. She is one of the original Avengers in the MCU, just a very recognizable face and character from all the different movies. And so it's not like it's a character that I see as going away in terms of out of people's minds. And so I still think it's a great book to own. I just didn't want to pick it up when it was at that absolute, peak type price that we were seeing earlier this year. So that's kind of my logic behind it, waiting a few months after the movie release and just monitoring prices and seeing what's happening with the sales of the book until I felt comfortable picking it up. And so that's how I felt with this one. I thought it was a great price, and so I was really happy to be able to grab this book. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. I've got more videos over here if you'd like to see some of my other videos, and the subscription button right here if you'd like to subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.